Miguna for educating us on this and for embracing this opportunity and letting Kenyans understand the need to rise and to fight for their rights. They won't buy all of us. They are sellouts. Like yesterday, we thought Osama was one of us, but we were very disappointed. And the president didn't answer any of our questions. It was just premeditated. It was a series. It was a movie. Something. It was predetermined. They and so I will urge you to stand in one voice. As we continue, we will conquer. They won't buy all of us. We will emerge winners in the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor, also for sharing the disappointment that a lot of Kenyans had yesterday. And this serves as also an example and a reminder that the people you start the journey with are not necessarily those who you will finish the journey with. And so this is just a life's lesson that people should take as they continue their journey, and also to believe in what you personally believe in. To believe in what you really believe in, and not what the other person thinks. Only when you have synthesized that and say, now me, Marge, what Victor has said is really, something I believe in, and these are the reasons I believe in. And then when you stand on your feet and your mind is clear, then you really have a course to follow without being shaken by who, if somebody, a perceived leader, is no longer with you anymore. Now, Frederick, and then I think the 30 minutes will be over. If the Tari is ready, that's fine. Otherwise, we can add in more people. Frederick Mwangi? Frederick, can you hear me? Hannah Ali, please go.
Hannah said she's trying to fix her mic. Yeah? She will be back later. She has a problem with her network.
I think she can speak now. Anne, can you hear us? Hannah?
Hello. Yes. I'm here. Thank you, Hillary, Marge, Kings. There's always a problem with the spaces. Thank you, Kings. When I was as a listener, I could not hear the space. Last week I had the same issue. I had to change my gadgets. But anyways, that's not here nor there. Comparing to what people are going through on the ground, my condolences to the families of the fallen comrades and the ones in the hospital. Now, people are more focused, the ones who like sideshows, they're more focused on the sideshows. These sideshows literally to divert attention to the real cause. And what the regime is doing is exactly that. And I think they've managed up to some extent, because I do not believe that it's a coincidence. Same person who's been advocating nobody should host him happens to be the one who hosted him. If you could bear with me, Hillary and Madge, the reason I'm saying that is this person was, for me, and this is my opinion, for me, this person was never part of this movement, but it's Kenyans who gave them legitimacy. Because when somebody says I've been abducted and then comes back and then nobody questions anything, and the same person and then says, oh, nobody should, and point fingers at others. For me, I think it was a long con. It was all along, I think, part of their divisive tactics. That's what I think. I don't think this guy just came out of the woodworks and then all of a sudden he became the one to be hosting. I doubt that. I think the plan was there all along. And it's Kenyans who gave him the legitimacy because people followed him, people listened to him, people were arguing with him on the timelines and so on and so forth. And he's not the only one, and he will not be the first one. I think last week what Dr. was saying is we have to be vigilant. So we have to be vigilant. And part of that is to shut the noises that are coming, the sidelines, the sideshows. Now, I think we should focus on the movement. On Sunday, what are people going to do? How can you be vigilant? How can you manage when you go on the ground, what you should look out for, and so on and so forth. But if we keep talking about what has happened and a space that was hosted, for me, I don't know. And the funniest thing, Hillary, is last night I saw the same person opening a space and people still went in their thousands. So mi sijui wa Kenya nani ameturoga, sijui tulirogwa na nani, but please, enough of these sideshows. A lot is at stake here. The whole nation is at stake. People have suffered enough. It's time to dismantle this system. We need a system that will deliver automatically without me screaming on top of my lungs. That is what the goal is. The goal is not just to divert attention. We need the IBC constituted. We need, I don't know who to go out. No, we kill the snake from the head, and if Ruto goes, then it's how do we fix this system? A system that has been there pre-colonial. We need that system fixed. So it's each day at a time. Now I think the focus should be on the Saba movement on Sunday. Thank you, Hillary. And I do kindly leave me there, because if I drop down, I cannot hear what the good doctor and everybody's submissions. Thank you, Hillary.
We're sorry, and fix your mic and your phone. And thank you so much for your submission, Madge.
Thanks. And so I just want to underline that the day yesterday actually reflects the problem that we have in the society and the reason why we are where we are, being bought. No, somebody was bought yesterday, but the government as it is and the MPs, some of them are political prostitutes, being bought left, right, and center. And when they do that, then we cannot have a functional government. So actually what happened yesterday is a disease that's really killing us. And that's why you have, non-performing people, but they bought their way in, or somebody is today in this party, but before the elections, they hope, others hope after the elections, and they actually have the mandate from party A but going to party B. So this is actually the life that we lead, and I really don't know what to say there, but nevertheless I want to say that the tactics that are being used, the very divisive tactics, very little ones. They were also used against me the past 2 days, where it was really, even we are hosting a space tomorrow, but it was, false information was put out there that we would be hosting the president. That is something that we are not doing. We never even said that, but paid mercenaries were put out there and people followed blindly. So my request to everyone who's in the space, when you see something, please try to think about it. Before you react, think about it, and think about, when I put this out, who's benefiting? What's the effect of it? Because some of you blindly, the past 2 days, supported the regime, very blindly. So guys, please, let's keep being vigilant and let's think about the things we do before we do. Terry, if you're ready, take a go. Otherwise, let us know so that we can pick other speakers.
Oh, thank you very much, Madge. I thank everybody. The first thing I would like to say is to agree with a lot of the sentiments that have been expressed. Struggles are never like wedding processions, or they are not nursery choirs. A struggle is difficult. It's not a straightforward thing or route that you take without impediments, because those in power are not going to live willingly, especially when they have committed so much crimes. The entire Republic of Kenya is a crime scene. State House is a crime scene. The obscene looting happening, supervised and presided over by William Ruto, is just too obscene to not pay attention to. As he was speaking yesterday and I couldn't watch him. I haven't watched him because there is no reason to. Many Kenyans and their families have been burying dead people, dead comrades that were on the street peacefully and did not deserve to die. But he couldn't even acknowledge the fact that his police officers killed these innocent Kenyans. He hasn't acknowledged that. He apparently claimed, from what I'm reading, third party, for those who watched him, is that criminals snatched guns from police officers and shot innocent people. That's incredible. Who says that? What kind of a president says that? What kind of a president refuses to admit that what we saw, because it was on live TV, we saw them. We saw armed police officers and police officers in civilian clothing aim at protesters and shoot them dead. There was a sniper at parliament buildings that shot innocent Kenyans dead. These are not things that you expect somebody at State House to refuse to admit. How does a president, any president, refuse to admit that innocent Kenyans died when a constitutional body, an independent body, Kenya National Commission of Human Rights, the defenders, and many other independent organizations like Amnesty International and media houses such as the CNN and BBC have reported, confirmed, verified reports from families and hospitals and whatnot, that these individuals died of gunshot wounds. Forensic experts will tell you that the weapons from which the bullets were fired were government issued. He hasn't had any inquiry or investigations done, but he sits at State House, which he has not left since this thing erupted, and pronounces that criminals are the ones who are responsible. If he knows there were criminals responsible, what did the police do? What did the security services do? Why weren't these criminals arrested? We know, of course, that it's a bunch of lies, just like he tells all lies all the time. Did he take responsibility as the so-called president? No, he didn't. Did he take responsibility for the fact that it is his arrogant refusal to withdraw the finance bill before it went to the House that led to the protest, at least precipitated, triggered off the protest? No, he didn't. Did he recall or fire anybody in the police? Because it does have power. In the security sector, the minister, the PS, the Minister of Defense that has been speaking carelessly, has he done anything to condole with the families that lost loved ones? Did he contribute, or did his government contribute towards the hospital bills, the bills for the morgues, the burial expenses? Did he call any of the families that lost loved ones? No, he didn't. So we have a rogue regime that has not recognized what it has done, the damage, the harm it has inflicted on Kenyans. On top of it, he then announces unilaterally that he has formed a committee, another committee, to do a forensic audit, he says, of public debt, without understanding that Article 211 to 214 provides that the Auditor General is the one who is supposed to do an audit of public expenditure, including debt, and then provide a report to the National Assembly Committee, the appropriate committee, that will then look at the report, and then if there are actions to be taken, then the appropriate government institution should take action. The Auditor General has already produced numerous reports about misappropriation of public expenditure, including specifically at State House since this government was installed in 2022, and nothing has happened. The Auditor General has indicted many government ministers and ministries and parastatals of abuse of public office and misuse of public resources, including at State House, and no action has been taken. Ruto was claiming that he would only take action if somebody is taken to court. This is ridiculous. Because to begin with, that is not what political responsibility requires. Political responsibility requires that action is taken once public confidence, the public has expressed that their confidence has been reduced or they have withdrawn confidence from a public officer. And we did that. Kenyans did that on June 25th in huge numbers. He has not resigned. None of his ministers have resigned. And he has not fired anybody. But he's arguing about taking people to court. Who does take people to court in Kenya? One, the DCI. He controls the DCI. He appointed the DCI director. And he seems to dictate who is to be arrested and who is not to be arrested, who is to be arraigned and who is not to be arraigned. Number two, EACC. Ruto appointed a priest as the head of EACC against the law. The law says EACC and all these law enforcement agencies, civilian ones, have to be headed by advocates of the High Court of Kenya because they know the law, they understand the law, that's their work professionally. Not a priest. A priest preaches in church. He appointed a priest. But more importantly, even this priest has released reports and has indicted many members, senior members of Ruto's administration. Ruto has taken no action. So EACC is unable and unwilling to take the ones with the highest responsibility in grand corruption to court. And I believe it is with the instruction from Ruto himself. Three, the Director of Public Prosecutions. That's the person who ultimately decides who is prosecuted and who is not prosecuted. And whom did Ruto appoint? Somebody nobody knows his name. Nobody knows his educational background. Nobody really knows about his professional career. He has done absolutely nothing and was involved in corruption the length of River Nile when he was working in Mombasa. Forged land title deeds. I have the evidence. I've seen it. This is the man he appointed at the head of the Director of Public Prosecutions. And again, this man is unable to arrest anybody or recommend the arrest of anybody and prosecution of anybody, and terminates prosecutions of people that even a grade 2 child would tell you there is more than credible evidence to suggest that that person, when taken to court, would be convicted. There is sufficient evidence to believe that Didmas Baraza shot somebody dead in broad daylight, but he's walking free. So this is the context of what happened when Ruto purportedly addressed a public space yesterday on X. Ruto has refused to accept that Kenyans have indicted his administration and has gone ahead to unilaterally appoint a body that he believes would whitewash his administration. Who did he appoint? First of all, Forget about the fact that this body is illegally constituted, because there is an independent constitutional body that is supposed to be doing what this so-called task force is supposed to be doing. So there is a duplicity of action and a wastage of public expenditure by purporting to institute this body. So look at the chair of the body, Nancy Aseko Onyango. What is Nancy Aseko Onyango's current position? Director, Office of Internal Audit and Inspection at the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The same people that brought us Finance Bill 2024. So they are supposed to be coming here to basically clean after themselves or try to make Kenyans believe that they had legitimate debt when we don't, including from the IMF. That is the chair of the so-called task force. Who are the members? Aaron Tegea, economist at the IMF, the same organization. Who is the other member? Professor Louis G. Francisci, Assistant Secretary General of the Commonwealth. So the same people, the puppet owners, whom we are complaining about, are controlling Ruto like robots against the interest of Kenyans, are supposed to be members. Who is the other member that he announced? President of the Law Society of Kenya, Faith Odhiambo, who immediately declined the appointment together with the entire Law Society team on the same basis that I have stated, that these, number one, is an illegal construct, a legal entity set up by Ruto outside the constitution, and that this role vests on the Auditor General. But even if it was constitutionally constituted, the members are not fit to conduct an independent forensic audit. An independent forensic audit would have to be conducted by someone not answerable to Ruto, and someone that does not report directly to Ruto, that would submit their report for public scrutiny to the National Assembly. Even however captured it is, institutionally, it is the one where the report is supposed to be tabled. Furthermore, nothing stops the regime from submitting reports and documents regarding the so-called public debt currently to Parliament or to the Auditor General, or to allow citizens of Kenya to access the same information. Because we have a lot of accountants, we have a lot of forensic accountants in Kenya who can conduct on their own without billing anyone a forensic audit of the debt. It's not a very difficult thing. From what I have heard, from what I have learned, Ruto has essentially borrowed close to 7 trillion Kenya shillings, yet the debt that was outstanding when he came into power was 1.7 trillion. Where did over 6 trillion go? What has he done with it? I suspect that most of it has been stolen. So Ruto has lost credibility, and it seems like he has not learned that Kenyans have lost confidence in him, and is continuing to believe that the Moi strategy of divide and rule, of buying people, of trying to use force, of using propaganda, is going to get him out of this. It isn't. Next, Saba. Tomorrow is the 7th of July. The 7th of July is very important in our history because on July 7th, 1990, Kenyans in their thousands rose up in protests demanding for multi-party democracy. That is when Kenyans united, rose up. That is before, I believe, the Gen Zs were born. So this struggle did not start yesterday. This struggle did not start in June. This struggle did not start with the Finance Bill 2024. As I said a week ago, the struggles began against the British and have continued throughout. So each generation has had their protests, have had their maandamanos, have had their grievances, and have stood against the regime that is oppressing them. So in 1990, in Kenya, we had a one-party rule and a one-man rule. The man was called Daniel Arap Moi. The party was called Kenya Kenya African National Union, KANU. The party that, quote unquote, won independence elections in 1963 and metamorphosed into a de jure, a legal one-party state through a constitutional change in 1982. Moi ruled Kenya alone with KANU, with his cronies and a few mafia from 1982 to the eruption of Saba 1990, and continued to do so through 1990 and 1991 until 1992. That's when he gave in and allowed multi-party democracy. What were people complaining about apart from multi-partyism? One, Kenyans wanted detention without trial to end. The same thing Ruto is doing even under the new constitution. Is abducting people, detaining them, sometimes over the 24-hour limit without charge. That is what people are rising up against. People were rising up against abuses, human rights abuses. Universities and colleges and scholars were demanding academic freedom because at the time there were books that were restricted, that were not supposed to be used at the universities. In fact, Moi had categorized anybody with a beard as a Marxist, as a communist, as a socialist, and he targeted them for persecution. People could not just write freely. The press was not free. People were demanding freedom of expression. People wanted freedom of association. People wanted a free press. People wanted grand corruption to stop. People wanted the end of tribalism because, as many would know, at the time, most of the people that were appointed into high positions were members of his tribe, just like now. This regime is predominantly made up of probably 2 or 3 tribes. And that is unacceptable because Kenya comprises of 54 communities. And the constitution requires that in every appointment, in every office, we should see the face of Kenya. So this is what people were fighting about in 1990. And when you look at now, you would say, apart from the fact that Kenya is a multi-party state, all the other problems are still persisting. We still have abductions. We still have illegal detentions. We still have human rights abuses. I'm not sure about academic freedom. That probably is a battle we won because I believe right now in our schools, most people can do research and write almost on anything. As to whether it is thriving is another question. We do have freedom of association. It is suppressed, but it is there. And of course, we still have corruption, grand corruption. We still have tribalism. We still have nepotism. At that time, Moi reacted by detaining prominent members of whom he perceived to be the organizers. For example, Kenneth Matiba, Charles Rubia. There were several people who were detained. In fact, he had also detained Raila Odinga and many others without trial, without taking them to court. And of course, people were tortured. Matiba came out of detention paralyzed and eventually died out of the conditions that he was subjected to in prison. The result, ultimately, the big win in 1992 was the repeal of Section 2A, which then allowed Kenyans to form multi-parties. And eventually, in August 2010, we amalgamated the new constitution of Kenya 2010. So those are the big wins. But we did not make these gains without a struggle, without risks, without people suffering. So what is it that we should look for on the Saba coming up tomorrow? The organizers have already announced that they are going to have a memorial concert. They are going to celebrate the lives of those who have lost their lives during the protests, and they are going to reaffirm our commitment for the values and the grievances that Kenyans rose up against, which was not just Finance Bill 2024. A lot of regime-friendly media and propagandists are only talking about Finance Bill 2024 and talking about it as if it has been withdrawn and as if it cannot be brought back. And as I said last week, Finance Bill 2024 is alive and will become law on the 16th of July automatically, because the law says that if the president does not assent to it and nothing happens in the National Assembly, the bill becomes law automatically in 21 days. So on the 16th of July, Finance Bill 2024 is the law. So really, we have not made any gains. I want to disabuse ourselves of that. We have lost people. We have had people injured. We have had the properties destroyed by state goons. We have had a lot of us compromised. But there is no gain, no singular concrete gain that we have made. So I think the challenge on us is to do this on Saba Day. If we are going to honor the lives of all the people that have lost their lives and all the people that have been injured and all the atrocities that have been committed in the name of these demands, we should show up in large numbers at Uhuru Park. We should show up peacefully. We should dress in black. We should carry our flags. We should play our music. We should have the images of all these heroes that died. And we should singularly tell the regime that Ruto must go. Ruto must go is an anthem not just targeting Ruto as a person, is targeting the entire regime with all the crimes that it has committed and continues to commit. All the corruption and looting that it is committing and continues to commit. It has committed and continues to commit. And all the arrogance that the regime, starting from Ruto going down, continues to exhibit. The chest thumping, the dismissive statements, the inability to address Kenyans on concrete issues. Like Ruto refused to answer any question that the media have asked him. And I understand yesterday during the hijack to space, any questions that any of the critical speakers addressed him on, he did not respond to. So that's all I want to say for now. I think we should remain focused. We must remain united. We must speak with one voice. We should not allow distractions. And we should send a clear message to thugs like Otero and the rest. Kenya belongs to us, not allow distractions. And we should send a clear message to thugs like Otero. People say, oh, some of us are opportunistic. That's why we are supporting the protests. Forgetting that some of us have been protesting against injustices since we were teenagers. We never stopped. And forgetting that the opportunism can only be exhibited if there is a gain that is imminent. There is no gain here. There is no election. There is no government anyone is fighting for. The people who are opportunistic are there cutting deals at State House, looking for appointments. Many of us do not want appointments in this government. Look, somebody said I should become a CAS when I returned to Kenya in October 2022. What did I say when I was interviewed by AJAABU? Even before then, I said the CAS position was unconstitutional. And even if I was offered the position, I would not take it. Because we have to make a stand based on integrity. We cannot be swayed by crumbs when the majority of Kenyans are suffering. I will drop the mic now unless there are questions. Thank you very much.
Daktari, maybe
I
before
can
you
hear you.
drop, maybe before you drop, I just wanted to touch on, maybe to give more information about the finance bill that you were talking about yesterday when he was addressing the media before he came to the spaces. He really insisted on that finance bill should still proceed the way it is, and as we've said, our law does not provide anywhere where he can reject or withdraw the bill. So what he did, and that is my question, where I am wondering what is his end goal at the end of the day, because he said that he'll drop some office, he will amalgamate some, and then the office that he wanted to do away with, he spoke about maybe cutting staff in his advisory board by 50%. Anyone who is 60 years old and above to retire immediately. So meaning also most of his CSS should be going home. And he also spoke about, I think, merging some ministries. So in all that, at the end of the day, I was like, if you are taking austerity measures, but you're still maintaining your budget at 4.2, then where are the numbers? Because you're saying now, because you are insisting that you cannot pay, then I'll borrow this money. So I'll borrow this money. At the same time, I'll also be cutting down this and this and this. So this other that you are saving from austerity measures, where is this money going? Is it going to reduce our debt? And maybe say now, because I've saved in all this much, there is no, now the people like Akina Otero who have been benefiting from the confidential fund, and it has been done away with. Now that money maybe will be channeled towards debt reduction. So he never spoke about that. And maybe just to touch on you, Daktari, when you are speaking about the movement of Mau Mau, you forgot to mention yourself when you were a student leader back in 1986, 1987, and you were also detained by the same regime, fighting for the same cause.
So thank you very much, Kingsman. First of all, everything that Ruto said is a lie. So let me begin with the first one that you mentioned. If he says that he's going to disband parastatals, but the staff are going to be transferred to other departments and ministries, so what is being disbanded? Because it's like saying you are going to stop using one room, but the people in that room are moving to the other room. So, which means that if there was a budget for feeding those people, it still continues. They are going to still use the same amount of energy, the same amount of water, the same amount of everything. So, what have you done? You have moved people from one room to the other, but the budget remains for these people, right? And in any event, was that the demand of Kenyans? What is it that Kenyans were complaining about in the finance bill? It wasn't about public, uh, the amount of people in the public service. People were complaining about overtaxation. Has he done anything about that? No, zero. Taxes have not been reduced in Kenya. And there is nothing he has done regarding commodity prices, regarding most of the debt that have been stolen. Basically, they consider them debt. They are debts that were incurred without our consent, without our knowledge. And you don't need an audit to be able to tell us what these debts are, because you're the one who got them. You have the papers. You signed them with the so-called, IMF and the World Bank, and maybe with the Chinese banks. But disclose the information. How about the ostentatious spending? He's still wearing, in fact, I think at the so-called space, he was still wearing his 30 million watch. I mean, he has not tendered it back to the public, sold it, and returned the money that he used for buying them. People are saying this man has been in politics for 30 years, therefore he can afford a watch. Do these people know how much an MP was earning when Ruto first became an MP? They were earning less than $150,000, 150,000 shillings. It's not enough, even if he worked for 60 years, to be able to afford one watch worth 30 million. So the amount of money they are spending, they definitely did not earn. How about this nonsense about he has disbanded the confidential fund? That's the most nonsensical lie I've ever heard. So if he has disbanded the confidential fund, how is the NIS going to be funded? Because that's the chunk of the money is through NIS. Is he going to open the accounts of the NIS so that we can forensically audit it? Because that's where they put most of the loot and they take out so that you don't see it. No, he will never open the accounts of the NIS. So therefore, this allegation that he has disbanded the confidential fund is a red herring. It is neither here nor there. And it has nothing to do with what the demands were. Has he fired anybody? No, he's talking about I may. He's saying if somebody is charged, I will fire them. No, Ruto constituted this government consciously. He constituted a government of crooks for crooks consciously. He can fire his crooks tomorrow if he wanted, or yesterday if he wanted. But no, he's still dilly-dallying. Apparently, I have heard confidentially that he's planning a reshuffle next week. Nobody wants a reshuffle. We don't care about a reshuffle. We want the entire government to go so that we can reconstitute the state and have a clean, transformed administration that will care about the needs of Kenyans. Period. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for walking us through the Saba history and for also sharing with us about basically dissecting yesterday's speech and also sharing with us actually the true status of what is going on. I have two questions for you before we proceed with the next speakers. The first question is just for understanding, because if a head of state really is on record to form a task force that is unconstitutional. I mean, in other areas, you would find that such a decision is not made single-handedly. Even if he wanted to, if a head of state wants to do such a thing, there has to be a team who are counter-checking. Of course, he must be having knowledge of the constitution. Then there has to be as team checking, and before this decision reaches the public, it would have passed through many layers of be a scrutiny, and so that we don't have decisions or pronouncements that are contrary to the constitution. Would you kindly make us understand why we keep having scenarios whereby the head of state is telling us things that are unconstitutional? Do you maybe have an idea of how these things really happen? Back to you.
Madge, thank you very much. This is what I know. Dictators and tyrants rule through crisis. And commissions of inquiry, task forces are always the hiding places when they are in crisis. So they cause, most of the time, they artificially cause a crisis so that when the crisis comes, they can look like they are they are the solvers or the solution to the crisis. All right? they are the answers to the crisis, so that they look like they are statesmen and they are above the fray. Moi did it by creating commission after commission, and Kibaki also did the same. And when the so-called task force or the commission brings the report, it's never enforced. So, for example, we had the Ndungu land commission. The commission brought a report that was never enforced. During Kibaki's time, we had the TJRC, Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission. It brought in a report, never enforced, because they use this as release valves. When the pressure is too much, you create this to release pressure. There was also the Waki report. Most of it is not of the post-election violence. Most of the report, nothing was enforced. We've had many such commissions. Okay? This is a PR exercise, purely a PR exercise. As I said, he cannot purport to form this thing from the IMF, who is supposed to be a creditor. So somebody lends you money, you go to the National Bank or you go to Equity, they give you 100 million to construct a house or to construct a business. And then there is a problem with the management of this debt. So let's say something happened that was untoward. There were kickbacks and whatnot. So what happens? The same creditor, Equity Bank, then says they have constituted a team to investigate whether there was a kickback or not. Do you think you will ever find out whether there was a kickback when the same creditor is the one responsible for this? No. To be able to find a solution, both the creditor and the lender must then tender information to a third party, an independent third party, to look into it, so that the report does not go to the people who are involved. It goes to an independent body. The independent body is the one that does the forensic audit and then reports to another independent body to be able to tell us if there is a problem. That is transparency and accountability. But no, Ruto, who is the person who caused the crisis, is the one who forms this PR task force. The task force is supposed to work under his supervision and report to him. But the members of the task force are from the people that he borrowed from. It makes no sense. So why is it done? It is the culture of impunity. Because he thinks he can get away with it. Because he gets away, because many regimes have gotten away with it. Because the president cannot be sued and cannot be charged. Because he's immune under the Constitution. So he thinks all you need to do, because this is what has happened before, is to just ride the storm. You remember there was a KEMSA scandal. Nobody went to jail. Uhuru Kenyatta retired, and every month he's paid over 100 million, and he's just going about the world drinking. What about the NYS? Waiguru is now a governor and has staff. Nothing has happened to Waiguru, nothing happened to Uhuru. How about all the other scandals, including the Eurobond and many others under Uhuru's administration, some touching on Ruto himself? Nothing has happened. So because nothing has happened, Ruto believes nothing will happen with respect to him as well. The unfortunate thing about this for Ruto is that just because your predecessors got away with murder does not mean that you or anybody else afterwards will be allowed to get away with murder. And unfortunately for him, the younger generation turned out in large numbers and said, enough is enough. I would want to encourage them. I would want to encourage us to put meaning to that statement. Let's say enough is enough, and let's gather in large numbers, and let's cause a crisis, and let dissolve Ruto's regime.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ray, for the really intensive explanation. Just a moment, Kingsman. Thanks for the very intense. Kingsman, would you kindly mute your mic? Thank you. And so that explains really the rot in the society that even makes our leaders also behave the same way, whereas they have the, you know, the legal and ethical and moral obligation to do the right thing, but they don't do it. So we need to have a reset, absolutely, even in the society, not only the leadership, but also in the society, because really we give back the same thing. But before I give the mic to Kingsman.
Mark, as you give your mic, I want to remind our people that let us be very, very patient, because we have more than 100 people requesting a mic, so we cannot give everyone. Thank you much.
Thanks, Hilary. So before I give the next person, before I give Kingsman the mic, I'd like to request the next speakers to really, be precise with their questions, and then just channel those questions to Dr. and then we'll pick 3 people to answer to ask those questions, and then Dr. can respond. But if he wants to respond in between, sometimes there is a question that you're burning to respond to, then he can do that. So the order will be Mitch, Oichi, and then Mebs. Okay, Kingsman, over to you, and then the speakers can ask the questions. Kingsman, can you hear me?
Kingsman, can you hear Madge?
Okay, we'll let Mitch go, and then Hilary, please text him to tell him that we cannot hear him. Mitch?
All right.
Hello, thank you for this opportunity. First of all, before I ask, yes?
Okay, then
Hello,
just okay, Oichi, a moment. So Kingsman, just one moment. Oichi, kindly finish, and then you go to Mitch.
Okay. Yes, before I ask any question, I have some reactions from the conversation that you are having here. One is the reaction to the speech that I had from Mukomen, that is CS for transport. One thing that I think that came into my mind is that this guy thinks that Kenyans do not know exactly what's going on because he's kind of, it was not come to you guys to tell you exactly what you are doing. It's like we don't know. They're doing some work, but we don't know. For a case of Mukomen, it is something that everyone is supposed to see. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to place an advert in a television so that you're able to see what that ministry is doing. For instance, if you go around our country, you will realize that there's some funds that were allocated to the transport to maybe to build new roads and also to do some renovations here and there. But you can realize that that's not being done. Some projects even they stopped. So you wonder, even if you look at I don't know what happened with the roads, because it's like the road ministry. There's some roads that are supposed to be done by the national government. The other roads that are supposed to be done by the member of parliament. Maybe Miguna will ask you to respond to this one, because we cannot understand why some roads are assigned maybe to members of parliament, others to the county government. But if you go around, you realize that all the resources that have been assigned to these governments, they are not being utilized. The roads are not being built. They come and do 1, 2, 3, and then they take some photos, and then you realize that nothing much being done. It's only that people are not responding. People are not kind of holding them accountable. But now this is the time, the technology that's being used to address some of the issues that we are seeing in our country. And I am another thing I think I need to react to it is on corruption, which has been an issue. If you look around Africa, you may realize that most countries in Africa, they're not kind of developing. Nothing much is going on. And from one year to the other, they always come up with budgets. And there are some things that they need to focus on. For example, why do we need some youth maybe to go to Western countries to look for job opportunities? Something that they know that we need to do here. There's something that we read about. Industrialization, something that happened in Europe. Why can't they do them here? And then you see some people, like some county government, they have assigned a kind of, they have allocated a particular budget for people to go to different countries to benchmark. What are they benchmarking? Because they really know exactly what is supposed to be done. We know that we need to have industries. That's what we create job opportunities. And if we are not focusing on that, and if we are focusing on other things, then it means we are doomed as a country. So what's happening actually with the from national government to county government, it's like corruptions like in large scale.
Yeah.
And I think that's what bring a big issue in our country. And that's why everyone is hungry, because what is supposed to be like services that are supposed to be even for free, that's not being provided by national government, or no one cares this politician. They don't care. What they care about is about their families. Another thing, maybe 1 minute,
Yes.
please, on there's a big issue on conflict of interest.
Land, please. Okay.
Yes, what 1 minute, please.
Yes, please.
On
Land, yes.
Yes, on the issue of conflict of interest, I think also it is a big issue from the national government to county government, whereby you realize that the people who are doing business with the guy, I don't know if there is maybe also something that Dr. Miguna can respond to this. Do we have a law that that it clearly states something to do with the conflict of interest? If you are employee of government, then you are not supposed to do business with the government, including the relative, because here they are using proxies to conduct a business, and that's how they get this amount of money that we are seeing people that they are carrying, and they're going to for donation, something of the sort. I think one last point. Now, for this, what is being pushed is that
kindly.
we need to focus.
Oichi,
Okay.
let's just also be mindful of other people. You know.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Then let me end at that point. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes. So now moving forward, I'd like to just underline again, it's 2 minutes each, and we are not restricting because we do not want you to speak as long. We know that the 2 minutes are very restricted. So kindly do prepare your points so that you can deliver them within 2 minutes. After the first minute, I'm going to raise my hand. Look at my profile. You'll see that. And that when I do that, it means you have 1 more minute to go. And I do not want to cut people short by just saying land, because it actually also distracts your train of thought. So please, let's abide by that. Kinsman and then Mitch. I can't hear Kinsman. Mitch, please, 2 minutes. Yes. Hilary, can you hear her? I cannot hear her.
No, I can't hear Mitch. Mitch, we can't hear you. You have a problem.
So then Maps, please.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Maps.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Hilary. Thank you, Dr. Miguna, for your time. I'll be very brief because we don't need to go back to the scripted X-Space that Ruto held yesterday, because if you want to hear the opinions of Kenyan people, because this is not a Gen Z movement anymore, it's millennials, it's all Kenyans, you have representatives in all these spaces. Right now they're listening, so they know what we are really doing. So you don't send their Robert Alai, who works for the government, to ask questions, because he doesn't represent the views of people on this cause. I had him campaigning about the jobs that he's really securing for the youth in Germany. I will tell you for a fact, because I live here in Germany since 2007. This is the most difficult job market despite the shortage of skilled workers that we have in these countries. Without the German language, you cannot work in Germany because Germans don't need engineers from Kenya. They have enough engineers here. Yeah. What they need are cheap labor who actually they can also get from Eastern European countries. Yeah. So
Okay, Mebs, I'm
yes.
going to interrupt you there. We have we have to put out correct information. You know,
Yes.
so when Ruto speaks about Poland and says that Poland needs labor, the situation in
No,
Poland.
I'm talking about Germany. He spoke
yes,
about Germany.
I'm
The
moving
jobs
there.
that he's
I'm
securing
moving
in
there.
Germany. Yeah.
I'm moving there.
Mhm.
So Ruto was wrong about Poland, but Ruto is right about Germany. You know, even the clock, a broken clock is right once. So at the moment in Germany, the what is it called? The economy is shrinking. They need a lot of people in Germany, and they not only need, actually they need trained people, skilled workers, because what is happening is that due to a lot of racism, and they never really try to bring in people who are skilled. So Canada took over. Cameroonians who are coming to Germany can speak French. So Germany trains them for free, but then they move over to France because of the racism in Germany. As we speak, they're even setting laws to allow people to come in. So let's stay by the truth. Now, the wrong thing that is going to happen, that's where the corruption is going to catch up with us. So once they have that bilateral agreement, what's going to happen is that now the corrupt politicians are going to be around forming companies, taking people to Germany, telling you have to go to this lab. You know, that is the one thing that is going to really even hinder this bilateral agreement. But coming out there to tell people that Germany doesn't need staff, that is a lie.
No, I said
that.
I said Germany needs. I'll tell you for a fact that Germany is the most difficult job market despite the shortage of skilled workers. That's I said Germany has. I know for a fact we have a shortage of skilled workers, but without the proper language, without the proper channels, you cannot work here. Cameroonians have it easy here because their system really mirrors the German system, their school system. Yeah, that's why they have it easy here. But anyway, what I wanted to say is we would like to show
thanks
even
for
the
the correction. Thanks
Yeah.
for the correction. If you're
Thank you.
coming to Germany, you have to learn the language.
Exactly.
But
That is what I said,
job...
Madge, before.
Can you please
Yeah.
let me finish?
Yeah.
And then you're going to divert back to the topic, you know, because otherwise that is not, because this is not the topic of the discussion. And as you've had out there, people are saying, well, now they're just discussing other countries. So, like I repeat, for Germany, he's telling the truth, apart from the corruption that's going to surround this. They're going to just give it to their relatives and things like that, you know. But really, other things about coming to these other countries, we can talk about them another time. So do take your last minute to really just say something on the topic. Over to you,
Yeah,
Mebs.
I had a question for Miguna, because we know that the 50 CAS positions were also unconstitutional and they were still in position. So what do we do about our president, who always keeps giving us the middle finger all the time, coming up with this unconstitutional bodies, and what can we do? Because we are tired. We are tired as Kenya. As to put it in context, is Kenya's GDP is only 113 billion US dollars compared to the US for 27 trillion. And in the US, they only have 15 cabinet secretaries, while in Kenya we have 22. Why do we need 22 of them? I think constitutionally we can just have like 14, a minimum of 14. Why don't we just use 14 and cut our budgets and work according to what we have in the budget? I will leave it at that today. Thank you for the time, Hilary.
And thanks, Mebs. And another thing I can point out, which is a lie or which the government did not disclose, is what they're offering to Germany in return. They're going to fast track deportations. So Kenyans who are living here, and I feel that they really need to say it. I tried to say it and tagged the PS, and she nicknamed me an alarmist, but that is something that was also in the media here. So if the government is really also sharing things, they should just state the truth from both ends. Now, who was next?
Exactly,
Hilary?
just a point, Marge, maybe we lie us on inbox, and we can maybe have this bilateral contract translated to English, and then we put it out for people to read by themselves.
Right, Babs.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. I know. Tabitha, do you have anything? And then Walimu, then Prof.
Thank you, Hillary. Thank you, Marge. I am of the great opinion that as a country, the government should be tasked with the responsibility of providing jobs for its youth internally first, because we cannot be having an education system that churns out youth from the institutions of higher learning and colleges, universities every year. And yet we cannot have a system that also absorbs them actively into those professions. So we need to have a conversation internally on how we as a country need to self-reliantly equally provide some percentage, even if it's not the whole lot, but some percentage, a higher number of youths who come from these institutions of higher learning, that we design courses for them to partake. And even we create more TVETs. And the other day we had the president speaking about the affordable housing as a means towards creating employment for the youth, which was so laughable. Not all of us go to school to study issues related to constructions and things like that. But as it stands at this particular point, I'm just thinking, Dr. Miguna, could it be possible that maybe moving forward that the Gen Zs or the millennials, like maybe say that now this is not just a conversation from the Gen Zs alone. What is the role now of the Gen Zs, for example, in holding this county government accountable? Could we now maybe have a conversation or engagement that could also bring this county government, the county governors? I've seen a lot of reports going around of them really having wastage of our resources and monies and not creating employment or providing services to our counties. Where can we move as Gen Zs or even just nationalists from these particular other counties? Where do we proceed from this? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tabitha. Mwalimu Kingsman, I see you back. Kingsman, go, then Mwalimu, and then Daktari can chime in.
What I wanted to touch at that time before I had the network issues was, Daktari, I don't know if you've seen, there's a report, Auditor General's report that is going around about, I think yesterday they gave out a report on the counties, and you could see the wastage that is going on. The county of Meru used 1 billion shillings in travel. The county of where this former speaker comes from, they have used over 3.6 billion shillings in expenditure that is non-developmental. Our own Dimpo guys in Nairobi has already used over 700 million shillings in travel alone. So begs the question, when we are bombarded with this external debt that you are being told about with Kinandi, you must pay, you must pay, you must pay. Daktari, can we get to a point whereby we tell this IMF and Akina World Bank that no, where we are, this 7.2 million, because there's a chart that I've shared for the growth of our debt in the last 10 years. As you can see, the growth is exponential. There is no single year whereby we've reduced our national debt. It is growing and growing and growing. Yet development is also being curtailed each and every year. So the growth is not like they do not go hand in hand. So my question to you is, now we are trying to make the life for this guy as hard as possible. Can we just agree that 90% of our debt is odious debt, and we tell IMF and whoever whom they borrowed from, because I believe the 2 Eurobonds never go to Kenya, which are around 400 billion. So we say that we are not going to pay this debt, Daktari. Is it possible?
Thanks, Kingsman. Mwalimu, if you can proceed, and then we will see the point where Daktari is going to take on the questions. Mwalimu, please proceed. 2 minutes.
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. My name is Mwalimu Simon Gishuki. My home county is Kirinyaga from Gishogo constituency, and I'm loving whatever conversation we are having here. Myself, I live in Nairobi. I'm in construction industry. Being Mwalimu has been a long journey, and myself, I'm working in a different industry, having studied education. I studied pale kwa Muhindi, India, and whatever I've been doing
Mwalimu, your
Mwalimu,
mic is bad.
because
Your mic is bad.
Mwalimu, there's something echoing. I don't know. Are you using headphones? Yeah, now it's
Hello,
better. Yes,
can you hear me
yes.
now?
Well, kindly proceed. One more
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. It's much better.
Yes, please proceed.
Hello? Yes. That's what I'm saying. And myself having studying pale kwa Muhindi, there are so much things that we can learn from these guys, and that's why I've been telling people there's been so much of uh, uh, medical tourism between Kenya and to learn that whatever these guys have done over the years, that they have made their medical industry to start. They has made their education to start. That people could like us could go there and study, and whatever we are paying there, the education fees pale kwa Muhindi it was so cheap. Even right now, it's so cheap. So what are the things that we are not doing right? Those are the kind of the questions that we need to ask ourselves. In considering the things like in the industrialization, what are those things that we need to learn from these guys? There are so much of cottage industries. Pale viatu zilikuwa zinaundwa kwa nyumba.
Lakini
People have
mwalimu,
so
sasa
yes,
sio kwa ubaya.
yes.
Si tulikuwa hii topic hii hapa ya preparation ya Sabasaba and nini. Cause unajua tukiongea hiyo yenye unaongea
Mm,
ni ya muhimu sana, lakini ndo
mm,
tuweze kuongea in a structured manner ni vizuri kama like let's say
mm,
hata
mm, mm,
tukiwa darasa na mwalimu ameamua leo ni GHC, hatutakuja tunaanza kudiscuss CRE na kuelewa ya kwa yenye unataka kusema, lakini ningependa kuomba
mm.
wale wanakuja kuongea next, tafadhali stick to the topic because it's a Sunday. Tumesacrifice kuja hapa kudiscuss hii topic yenye wenye walikuja pia waliprepare, na nataka kusisitiza ya kwamba unaweza kutumia Swahili pia. Wenye wanataka kutumia Swahili mtumie Swahili, wenye wanataka kutumia Kizungu mtumie Kizungu, lakini naomba ya kuwa stick to the topic kindly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, over to you, Hillary. Yeah.
No, thank you so much, man. Yeah, that's what we want to say. That our topic today is just Sabasaba. Ukinapokuja kuongea, tafadhali kwa lugha yote tu zungumuza juu ya Sabasaba na ni nini inafaa tufanye kesho, kwa sababu ilikuwa na sababu kwa nini iliwekwa. Mwalimu, ulimaliza? Kwa sababu tunataka tupatie mtu mwingine maji.
Yes, mwalimu, tafadhali 1 minute on Sabasaba and then we go to Professor. Mwalimu cannot hear me. Professor, over to you, please.
Thank you so much, Maj. Good evening. Actually, Dr. Ari has talked everything I wanted to talk, and mine is very simple due to time constraints. We have what we call, we are dealing with a person that we call or we address as a Moi orphan. And being a Moi orphan in this generation and in this dispensation, we must tread carefully with this person, because we all know as Kenyans that lies in his mouth has overtaken any other thing that we Kenyans want. And so we are hopeful, and I'm very certain that this movement will bear fruit. And once we take over after you sent him home, we shall reverse all the policies that he brought in place. Because ideally, this person has even done what we call, he has crippled even the so-called independent offices. And so once we take over, because as I told you, I'm certain that he's going home. We are not sparing him. We are smarter than him. And so these are the last kicks of a dying horse. Tomorrow is Sabasaba. I'm only kindly requesting all of us to have a very critical discussion. Those of us who can meet, we can organize for a meeting so that we continue mourning our comrades, the patriots who passed on during this struggle. I was watching news and 2 more people have been confirmed dead. So the number is now at 43. This is very sad. So let us continue with this movement and let us be serious about it. Let us not back down. Let us not be threatened, and we shall succeed. Thank you so much. I'll engage you further.
Thanks so much, Professor, for really keeping the time. We go to Bet Collins. Sorry, Bet, I skipped Felix. So we go to Felix, Wanjoroge, Simon, and then Collins, Bet, in that order, the 4 of you. Okay, excuse me. Kiprotich, you were first. I'm seeing you now. So Kiprotich, Felix, Wanjoroge, Simon, and then Bet in that order. 2 minutes each, and then Daktari will chime in. But Daktari, should you want to chime in between, just open your mic. Kiprotich, over to you. Kiprotich, going once, twice. Okay, Felix, next.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and
Yeah. Right.
All right, thank you. So for me, because we are talking about Saba, let me say I'm one of the millennial come Gen Z. So I can only say it's what I read in books. It's what I know about Saba. But going forward from tomorrow, I want to wish those who have died to rest in peace and those who are in hospitals, quick recovery as my opening remark. So, being that I'm seeing many people around, including politicians, I want to say this. To be someone who has a unpopular opinion, like Dr. Miguna himself, I'll say one thing. Ruto might be here to stay until 2027. Be it Saba, the only thing we can do as citizens, let's hold him accountable. That's the only thing we can do. Being that we are in a democratic country, this guy got, I don't know if they stole or they won it fair and square. Let's hold him accountable. For those of us tomorrow will be in Hurubak. Let's print placards, t-shirts. Let's send the message out loud and clear. And going forward, for all revolutions which have happened in the world, there has to be casualties. Those who have to pay the price for the rest to enjoy. And what I have to offer for myself is maybe I'll be one of them who will be a casualty, or I will enjoy the freedom. Being Saba, let's come out and let's stay strong. The guy we are dealing with, the same way he has been called is an Moi orphan. He believed he could behave like a dictator, but we thank God for the 2010 constitution. And for those who fought for it, being Saba, we will really celebrate them. For me and for the rest, let's meet tomorrow. Let's send out the message strong. Let's stay vigilant. Let's hold the guy into account. That's the only thing we can do. Our problem is not paying taxes. Our problem is how we use the taxes. Our problem is not about the debt we take. Our problem is, are we using the debt we are taking the right way? That's the only thing we should be doing from now up to 2027. And if we are not careful in 2027, the guy again, let's be careful, might come through again to be the president for the second time. If we don't take care, let's hold him accountable. Let's take care so that when that time comes, we make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Felix, also for staying within the time and for your sentiments. Wanjoroge, Simon, and then Collins. 2 minutes each.
Okay, evening everyone. So mine is just about having listened to Dr. Miguna and the history behind that he's shared, from independence to why we have Saba the 1992. So I think there's a phase at which each and everything pops up, and moving forward, I'm a millennial, and also having supported the Gen Z in what they did, I think it's only fair now moving forward, next 50 years, what's the thought process that shall dictate what we need, what is needed to be presented to the people. Back then it was land and education.
opportunities. We got that. We did our constitution. We have good documents that we can refer to, and there are documents that can be upheld if at all integrity issues are looked into. But now, whatever shall be addressed tomorrow, let it communicate, let it resonate to what the Gen Zs need. We have got internet these days. They have also sourced their own source of incomes online. So moving forward, what opportunities are we bringing up? What do they demand? Or rather, what would I also demand? I don't need to have the government look for a job for me outside. Why doesn't the government promote me, ask me what do I need to do or what can I do for the support? I think it's only fair to say that we have got enough for everyone and enough to invest in ourselves. So matters to do with corruptions, those are things that we have got documents to be addressed. But now let's also relate to what next. We may say we will do away with someone out of office, but that's it. But what next? The person to enter that position.
I think we lost one Wanjiroge there. Simon and Kolo. Wanjiroge, can you hear me? If you can hear me, land in 1 minute. Actually,
yes, I'm still there.
Yes, okay. Yeah, please
Okay, go ahead.
land. Yeah.
So in conclusion, I don't want to say much, but as much as what transpired with the initial demonstrations communicated a lot, the Gen Zs and the millennials need direction. We already have what was fought for during independence. So what next? What opportunities are we going for? We've got a lot of youth that is so much educated but unemployed. What opportunities are there? But saying that you are sourcing for opportunities out there, yet there are some other barriers out there that, as you're saying, Germany, one needs to be conversant with their languages and matters to do with racism. Some of us have got ideas that we need to be invested in. I can present an idea, people contribute, and something pops up, employment pops up.
Yeah.
So our Saba needs to be guided. Let it not be personal to attack someone, but it's 100 years from now. This is a revolution. 100 years after, something else will crop up. Mine was just that. So let's not lose focus with what we want as an agenda. And also let's not forget that we already have representation.
Yes.
But we need to stand guided.
Guys, my voice sounds very not as intimidating, but you guys are going to force me to crack the whip on you. If it's 2 minutes, it's 2 minutes. And when you're taking 3 to 4, you're being inconsiderate.
Maj, I can't hear anybody.
Okay.
Who is speaking?
It's me
Hello?
speaking.
Is Maji speaking? Can you ask Dr.
Hello?
Yes, Dr.
Dr. can
Dr. we can hear you.
Go text him, Hillary. Yeah.
No, let me text him. Yeah.
Yeah. He can log in and log out and come back. Guys, okay.
Maji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Who's speaking?
I can hear you. Simon should go and then Kolo.
Oh, okay. Simon, can you go ahead and then Kolo?
2 minutes each. When I raise my hand, the 1 minute is over. Then you know you have 1 minute left. Simon? Simon, go. Okay. I can't hear Simon. Kolo, please go.
Salutation to all the freedom fighters way back in 1963, and also the founders of Saba who have been mentioned before, who have been ahead of us.
Can you hear me?
It means, hello?
Kindly proceed, Kolo.
Yes, the founding fathers of this country believed in change, and they made the ultimate sacrifices. The freedoms that we are enjoying right now were as a result of struggles that people went through. The founders of Saba, the likes of Rubia, Matiba, sacrificed even their lives, their health, for the freedoms that we are enjoying today. What is left of us at the moment is to ensure that we have a new beginning for our country. It is time for another transition. Looking at the corruption, the way it is so entrenched in every institution of our country, be it recruitment, be it the county government, be it the national government, be it the judiciary, corruption is all over. Opulence, nepotism. These are the vices that we must stand up and fight against in this Saba Saba. Tomorrow, let us turn out in large numbers to remember our fallen heroes and heroines as we strategize for the next move. Right now, it is so clear that we must have a new beginning for this country, where we do a complete overhaul of all the structures that are there, the governance, and the leadership of this country. The time is now or never, because we've lost our country. Looking at all the sectors, it seems
you have to
nothing
land
is
now.
working. Thank you for that.
Kolo, your time is up. Aman Manyora is here, and people are requesting if he can pick a mic, if he can listen to us, and also, um, uh, Nani, the Manyora has been here for a while. People are requesting. I think Dr. Roslyn Kombepia is also with us. I see some people are requesting if they can join a mic. So, okay, guys, you can request a mic, or we'll send to you. Back to you, Madge.
Thank you. Dr. Harry, please test the mic. We see if you're now on.
Testing, testing. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Do you want to
Okay.
chime in, or should we proceed?
Yeah. I would like to chime in.
Go on.
Thank you very much, and thanks all the contributors. I would like us to stay focused. It is not. This is not the time to lose focus. As we said last week, and as I continue to say, the Republic of Kenya, the citizens of Kenya, have already stated that they have lost confidence in William Ruto and his regime. There is no reason why people say maybe we'll survive up to 2027, maybe he will get himself back in again. This maybe must come to an end. There is nothing else the Kenyans are waiting for except to have William Ruto resign. As I said before, this is something that has been done throughout history, and it is within the four corners of our constitutional architecture. The Constitution of Kenya 2010, Article 1, vests ultimate authority on the people of Kenya. We can recall William Ruto, and we should, by demonstrating to him in large numbers, peacefully, that we no longer want him as a head of state and head of government. People forget the British went to the polls just 2 days ago, the fourth election in 5 years. Every time the British express disaffection or lack of confidence in their government, they hold elections. And it doesn't matter whether the other government was just elected 1 year ago or 6 months ago, they will hold another election. And the prime minister resigned, and we have a new prime minister. You don't have to wait for 5 years to recall anyone. The Constitution of Kenya does not say that. It does not give anybody tenure for 5 years. You have a right to exercise your sovereignty under Article 1 by telling Ruto that you no longer have confidence in him, that you no longer trust him, that you no longer believe that anything he says or does is in your best interest, and you recall him. It's done all the time in South Africa. They recall their presidents within the party. And here we have it within the constitution to do so. Now, regarding the issue of conflict of interest, I believe the law is already there. The penal code has provisions regarding fraud, regarding theft, regarding misappropriation, regarding acts that are not legal, that are used by people in power or in positions of influence or in public office to acquire wealth that they otherwise are not entitled to have. The
Can you hear me?
Constitution, Chapter 6, the integrity provisions already provide for that. There is ethics and anti-corruption legislation that created the EACC that also provides for issues to do with conflict of interest. There are politicians who have already been charged with breaching conflict of interest laws. We don't need new laws. Kenya, we have more than enough laws. All we lack are men and women of integrity that will enforce those laws. That's all we lack. So let's not get confused about laws and whatnot. You saw that when the legislation was taken to the Senate, people like Olekina watered down a legislation that had been taken there, notwithstanding the fact that I'm saying we don't need that legislation. But even the one that they just drafted, they made it completely useless. In other words, don't trust these legislators, don't trust these people holding power, no matter which party they belong to. They are all hyenas that want to eat the sheep, who are the Kenyan citizens, through their taxes. They want to bankrupt the country so that a weakened citizenry, a pauperized citizenry, cannot have a say and cannot bring them to account. Now, regarding William Ruto,
Please proceed. I've muted the person whose mic was on.
right. There is someone who said that William Ruto has given the country the middle finger. Why don't we work within our budget? I think we've already been through that and established that this is not a person that can be brought, can bring himself within the requirements of the law. Is ungovernable. He does not respect the rule of law. He does not respect the constitution. That's why he appointed people that did not meet Chapter 6 of the Constitution into public office, because he doesn't care. So, as I said, we have a recourse under Article 1 of the Constitution, and that is what we have to do. We have to do it publicly, we have to do it peacefully, we have to do it in large numbers, we have to continue to demand that. We should not be waiting for 2027. If we do, William Ruto is going to reconstitute an IBC that looks exactly like the fake task force that he did yesterday to serve his personal interest. And then the IBC that he has reconstituted will be a rubber stamp to coronate him in 2027. We cannot actually betray the people who have died and allow him to do that. Now, Tabitha said, spoke about employment abroad and whatnot, and stated something that I agree with. The role of a government is to create jobs and environment for creating more jobs and opportunities and investments and business within Kenya, so that all Kenyans can work in Kenya and develop Kenya in Kenya. So this nonsense about exporting workers to wherever is just that, nonsense. A country cannot spend millions of shillings educating each person, training them, only to take them out to go and work. So that's basically not just a brain drain. It's also a sabotage of your economy. Because how are you going to recoup the money that you have used to educate and train these people, only to ship them outside to go earn menial jobs and develop other people's economies? Now, the issue of Kingsman said about the Auditor General's report, whether we can tell the IMF and the World Bank that the debt that is outstanding is odious debt and that we are not going to pay. Exactly. This is precisely what we should do. We should not pay debt that was illegally obtained, that did not come to help the people and the country, and that we are repaying so that these people can become billionaires. By the way, it's big business. Senior executives within the IMF and World Bank and managers are in bed with our thieves, and they are just stealing. Nobody should tell you that IMF executives are not conspiring and are not looting Kenya and other countries so that they can come to, quote unquote, our rescue when we are already bankrupt. Most of the debt, and I agree with Jimmy Wanjigi on this, most of the so-called debt were paid off many years ago. This so-called debt that we are paying now is not a debt. It's not a legitimate legal debt. These are illegal debts that we are encumbered with and that are used to basically bankrupt the country. These are mechanisms of theft, of looting, of plunder, of siphoning public resources outside Kenya. So yes, we should say that Kenyans are no longer going to pay the odious debt, which is illegal debt that is not legitimate, money that was not brought to Kenya for development, and money that should go towards development is being diverted to pay artificial, mythical things that we don't even know how to call. They should not even be called odious debt. They should be called fraudulent schemes, Ponzi schemes by the IMF, the World Bank, and our regime. Now, Felix made a comment about, I think that one I've already addressed, about Ruto staying up to 2027. I don't think we should allow him to. And I don't think anybody should imagine that that would happen. We should continue with the revolution the way it is. Then I believe, was it Wanjoroge or somebody who said that we've already achieved what we fought for during the struggle for independence. Far from it. Wanjoroge, I would tell you that we did not get back our land. We did not get our independence. We had a flag and we have a national anthem, but beyond that, we don't have anything else. Our economy is still controlled largely by the Western interest, plus 1% of our oligarchs. But the citizens of Kenya do not have control over the economy. They don't have control over their politics. We do not have control over our culture anymore. We don't have control over our social affairs. We certainly don't have control over foreign affairs. We are dictated to by Washington and by London and Paris. So no, we don't have our country back. We never achieved any independence. So we should continue to struggle. Last thing I want to say, it is good that at least the leadership of the police have made announcements that they are not going to interfere with tomorrow's memorial concert, and that the gathering at Uhuru Park is not going to be interfered with. They are not going to load tear gas, and they are not going to shoot anyone. Well, we hope that they are not going to hire criminals to interfere with the citizens, because when the citizens gather in large numbers there, I think the citizens should put it as a duty that if any of the thugs are unleashed on them, they should punish those thugs. They should not run away, because these thugs are not going to be more than 100, and they should be punished, and we can actually try them and punish them ourselves. I don't believe that people like Sakaja should be allowed to attend and address this rally. He was responsible for hiring thugs that injured a lot of people last week. And he's been one of the people that have stolen and looted public resources without accountability. He's responsible for the mess that we are in. Should be a peaceful, safe space for the movement, for citizens struggling against impunity. And we cannot allow perpetrators of impunity to invade this space and try to turn it into a platform for perpetuating impunity. Finally, I think there is a propaganda, probably brought in by the NIS, that is trying to create a sophisticated division. Our focus should be on the national government for now and the members of parliament that passed the punitive Finance Bill 2024. That way, we are not going to be diverted to the county governments. So let's forget about the Auditor General's report on the county governments for now, strategically. Let's focus our attention on Ruto and his regime and the members of parliament that passed this odious punitive Finance Bill 2024. Once we are over with them, then we can deal with the county governments and the others. Because if we don't do that, we would be scattered and we would be spread too thin, and we would turn even those governments that have been supporting us and giving us protection in the counties as our enemies. That's what they want. Focus on the national government, the Kenya Kwanza government. Let's bring it to its knees. Let's dissolve it, and then we can deal with other things later. That's my submission. I drop the mic.
Thank you so much, Daktari, for the submission. I would like to really request, we've hosted Daktari, I think 3 times, and there are speakers who have had a chance to speak, but there are speakers who actually inboxed me. They have been trying for 3 sessions to get to the mic, but they never managed. So if you have spoken before, kindly give the chance to other speakers who have not spoken so that we can add them, because really they've been trying and they also want to put their points across. Now we head to Cliff, Giorgio, Dean, and Kitoni.
Yeah,
Yes, please.
Maji, can I just say
Yes,
something?
please.
I think those speakers that have been wanting to speak, why don't they raise their hands and then you can put them on the queue and they can
The
speak?
problem is they can only raise their hands when they're on the speaker panel. Yeah.
Oh,
So when they're still on the listeners and requesting, yes,
March,
they can wave.
they can
Okay,
wave.
okay.
We can
Let's
just
do
say
that.
they can wave.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Thanks
okay.
for the tip. Okay, guys, you hear that? Kindly keep waving and then we add you. Meanwhile, let's go. Cliff, Giorgio, Dean, and Francis, as I look for those other ones, and then we go. Yeah, 2 minutes each.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Maj. On this one, I'm sure on this aspect whereby somehow for me, I believe like how Ruto put it together this government. Somehow he was creating a room and space for embezzlement. Actually, looking through all these financial bills all through since last year, this year, those myriad of taxation from the housing levy to the even the affordable was fertilizer, the VAT taxes all over the place. I believe somehow even having those so incompetent CSS or PSS or all those kind of officials, the SS official, was somehow there intentionally. However, for me, looking at the grand scheme of things, I believe at some point the president had maybe a scheme whereby towards the end of his term, he could actually throw all these CSS or a bunch of them under the bus and try to sanitize himself regarding what has happened in government and trying to look maybe kind of clean to the people and trying to maybe cleanse himself from the wrongdoings he has done or that have happened in his government. Although he's the chief leader of this government, he's the chief person who should be in charge, I believe that I think the chair has said that one quite clearly. We should put Ruto on task. He's the one on the spotlight. We should not try to divert the attention of the mismanagement of the country to the people who him as a person, him in his own very person, he appointed. I was very disappointed. I think I saw a video today or yesterday whereby when I was appointing, I think the IG, Mr. Kawame, he didn't even know who that was. then you're wondering like, how could we appoint a person who don't even understand, who is the second name, what they do, and all of that. So I think we should remain still focused on the point that, regardless also as much as we are calling, the overhaul of the cabinet, still of course now the focus majorly lies on the president for any mismanagement, for the appointments, for any appointment of the state officials, and also still the buck stops with the president in terms of any management or mismanagement of this country. I hand over the mic. Thank you.
Thanks for being brief. Kingsman, help me identify them. I saw a lot of waves. Let me drop Cliff. Giorgio, Dean, Mzalenda already added you. 2 minutes each.
I think also those people who have spoken, Jojo Kiasi, those who have spoken can come
Sawa.
up automatically, and then now we can be able to add others. I'll also be checking as you're doing so.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. For those who don't know me, I'm a comedian in the United States, been, struggling for a very long time trying to understand this capitalist system. I went to Nation TV to talk about capitalism. It's been a pain. I'm from Githurai. This is where the massacre was committed. Just because the highway is so flat, it's a killing field. So there is no negotiations. Thank you, Miguna. There is no negotiations with someone who has blood on your hands. When you have blood on your hands, you don't go to the public. We are not going to let this go. Here, we have a chance to change the entire world. And one of the things that is affecting us here is globalization. Kenya, there's nothing that can happen in Kenya by itself. It's a global village. We was trying to create a small global village. Now look at Ghana. They're trying to do exactly what we did. Look at Nigeria, Uganda. All of them are following suit. Are we going to be stopped down by these traitors? These traitors will come to regret. Why? Because we are creating a leaderless government. It is possible. Yesterday, I laid out the points of creating a leaderless government. I even brought examples of the softwares that we can use, starting with Monday. Now, William Ruto and your cronies, you keep messing with us just because you got guns. Guess what we got? We got nuclear weapons. We got bazooka.
Okay.
We're going to come from each and every corner of the world.
If you could, yes. You weren't 1 minute past. If you could just land, please.
Okay. Yeah. Let me summarize this. For each and every one of you in this movement, you need to feel very strong about yourself and know that an elephant is always dropped by a mace cop. United States, with all the power they have, 9/11, 2001, these boys, Osama bin Laden came with cutters and wires and fuck them up. William Ruto and your cronies, we're gonna fuck you up, and we ain't stopping. Love you, my people, keep it strong. Saba, here we come. We ain't stopping. Nothing is gonna stop us. We are not scared of death because when a man puts their life on the table, anything can happen. Love you all. Let's keep going.
Thank you so much, Giorgio. Dean and Zalendo, in that order.
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is Dean from Trans Nzoia County. I want to appreciate Dr. Miguna for what he said, and I agree with him in everything that he has said. Kenya as a country, we have a very illegitimate president. Look at what is happening in his cabinet. All his CSs are very incompetent and they have mastered his art of lies. And if we want to succeed in this, listening to William Ruto is a very big waste of time because he's a big liar and he has mastered the art of convincing people. The moment you listen to him, at some point you will start believing in him. So we don't have to listen to him whatsoever. His CSs are all incompetent. We have the CS for health who comes from Trans Nzoia. She's a drunkard who is ever drunk here in Trans Nzoia. when they say that charity begins at home, we even thought that because she comes from home, she is going to partner and help the governor to even improve the health sector in Trans Nzoia. But it is pathetic. She is in turn, she has now joined Wetangula in even fighting the governor. So we need people who are going to stand up and make sure that we take the government, we take Kenya to the next level. The fact that we are being told day and night, I don't think that just the way Dr. Miguna said, we don't have any dates. So
Yeah.
I support what the GNCs are doing.
Please land.
Sawa Dean, we've
Yeah.
had because of time.
It's okay.
Thank you. Tulikuwa tunajua ni mlevi, umeconfirm, tunaharibia
Wachaneni,
walevi jina
nyinyi
kabisa.
mtakuja
She's
hapa
a
na
very bad
evidence ya
mlevi.
chupa. Walevi mwachane, mtuletee kwanza chupa hapa tuone. Let's not go to personal attacks. That is going to water down. Hey,
Maj, I think Lexia has been
yes.
shouting so much in
Let's
the spaces.
let's give her. Yeah.
Lexia,
But
can you go
let's
please?
not go into personal attacks here. That waters down the discussion. Yes, Lexia, go.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah, we
Lexia,
can
we
hear
can
you,
hear you
buddy.
loud and
Go
clear.
ahead.
All right, thank you. What I want to talk, about is, the topic of today, which is what next. And I've really been looking for this mic. And what I believe that we need to do is that, the people are saying that we, retreat. We should not do that. The idea I have is that we, the likes of Boniface, the likes of Shadi, who started with those flyers, is that, we print those flyers with occupy embassies. The reason why I'm saying we occupy embassies is because this is the first thing that we should have done from the word go. If we had done this from the word go, and I'm sure Dr. Miguna is going to comment on this, we by now, the tyrant should be home. I'm giving an example of, the UN Avenue, which hosts the US Embassy, which hosts, UNEP. If we occupy, the both ends, which is, Limuru Road, and also on the other side, the Northern Pipers, then definitely everything will come to a standstill. Nothing will take place at the US Embassy. Nothing will take place at UNEP. And this will call, the reason why I'm saying the US Embassy is because these are, the tyrant is the puppet. And you see, our policemen are now guarding, the embassy of, US in Haiti, which is really a sad situation. But if we occupy, the entrance of UN Avenue, the junction between the Muru Road and UN Avenue, it means that nothing is going to take place at the Australian Embassy, which is there, at the Canada Embassy, which is there,
Kindly land.
the US Embassy, the UNEP,
2
the
minutes.
Israel Embassy.
2 minutes each. Kindly land.
Yeah.
Yeah, please. Yeah. Back to you.
So if we do this, then the most important thing, which is, IBC, then we are going to force the tyrant to make sure that he's signed the bill by Tuesday, as he said, but not just appointing anybody, but anybody that we are going to allow to be in that, seat as the IBC chair, probably, William Tunga. So I believe if we change those, and anybody who can reach to, Boniface, anybody who can reach to, Shadi.
I think we lost
Next speaker, please. Alexia, I think we lost you.
Zalendo, and then Dr. If you want to chime, then you can go after Zalendo. Zalendo, 2 minutes. Okay, Zalendo is not speaking.
Mzalendo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't hear him. So I think Alberta.
Hi everyone.
Hi, how are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Now, I just want to be very brief because I noticed that as Kenyans, we have a psychological problem. I think that we should all be in the consensus that this government, our employees, and we are not subordinates to them. We did not swear any oath of personhood to Mr. Ruto. We didn't swear anything to him. He is the one who swore an oath to the Kenyan people to do what is mandated in our constitution. And from what we've witnessed from his regime, it's obvious that his entire government is absolutely incompetent. I want to just provide encouragement to the compatriots, including the longtime veterans from Saba, to let them know that we understand now more than ever what you've been trying to tell us for years, that we do not owe public officials loyalty, obedience. We are not their spouses. They are not our children. We are not their subordinates. We are nothing to them. They should do their work and they should not expect any thanks from us. Thank you.
Oh, great, Alberta. That was very nice staying within the time. Guys, next speakers, just do that. And Dr. do let us know how many minutes you have left so that we can plan around that. But meanwhile, yes.
Maj, actually, I wanted to say that I would like to go. I think we've had a good discussion. I agree 100% with Alberto, or is it Alberta? But if somebody has something that they want to ask, I would answer it before I go. But I thank everybody. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to stay up to the end.
Okay.
No problem, Dr. I think you can pick a few. Maybe you pick 4 or 5, and then you respond to that, and then we can let you go.
All right, I'll listen.
Architect. Who else? I think we can add a few.
I think only a person who has a question, because he's leaving actually now. He's just waiting for a question that he can answer before he leaves. Is there anyone in the panel who has a question for Dr. Miguna? Okay, architect, shoot the question and then he can wind up. Yes.
Hi, thank you guys for giving me an opportunity to speak. I'm from the Caribbean, very close to Haiti and what's happening in Haiti and so on. We know the whole history about Haiti. And when I saw Kenyan troops guarding the U.S. Embassy in Haiti, I thought to myself, wow, that's interesting. But I have a question for the doctor. I know that you have more experience than me. I know that in revolutions, they have points of escalation. And I really think that Ruto should really go, because if he already done what he's done in a year and a half, can you imagine waiting for him in 2027 to leave? We can't allow that. So I wanted to ask the doctor, what kind of what else can we do, even those outside of Kenya, to escalate more and more legally? What can we do?
Thank you so much for that question. Dr. Please close with that.
Oh, thank you very much, Maj. What can we do to escalate legally? I think I am more convinced than any other time that the only thing that we can and must continue to do is to protest. The frequency of the protest will be decided and determined by protesters who are on the streets and villages and towns and cities in Kenya. If it was left to me, I would protest every day until Ruto goes. But I would wait to hear what other people will say today and hopefully tomorrow during the Saba. I call upon all Kenyans who believe that they have power and they have rights to change the system, which is their system, and to take Ruto home, to show up in large numbers tomorrow during the Saba with one anthem: Ruto must go, which would symbolize the dissolution of his entire administration so that we can transform Kenya. I thank everybody. Viva.
Thank you so much, Dr. for having time to come and at least address us and also speak to us. And also, we are here to champion the way forward for the Saba, and Saba has a history. So those people doesn't know the history, read the history, and know why it was started. Thank you so much, always, Daktari. Maj, how many minutes can we give? Then we
Okay,
wind up.
let's wind up at the top of the hour.
Okay.
I would like to say also, as we converse, let's keep Kingsman kindly mute. Yeah, let's keep within the confines of the law, because as we began this discussion and until now, the conversation of Dr. Miguna pegs onto Article 1 of the Constitution, meaning still within the legal grounds. So there was a speaker here, and I did not want to interrupt or act like I'm reacting. Was talking about bazooka and nuclear weapons. No, we're not going to any war anywhere. I mean, it is good to talk about such things when, you know, it's easier to talk about them when you're coming to a space. But let's understand that we have a legal responsibility also for the space. So we want to distance ourselves from such statements. We want to distance ourselves from, you know, unfounded statements that one cannot back up with evidence. And we do not want to glorify violence or threaten and say you're coming with nuclear weapons. We are very aware which countries have those nuclear weapons, and also aware of when they can be used. So please, let's not come with such claims. They're not helping here. They're just watering down the conversation. So as we continue, we're ending at the top of the hour, but remember that Daktari will listen to the end and pick your questions for the next session, or even just he can even answer via tweet. Be Real or Kingsman, and then we cue these the rest of the speakers as we finish at the top of the hour.
Yeah, I think mine is to echo on what you said, Marge, that this movement is not about use of violence. It's about using all means that are available legally, and it's a civil discourse. It's a conversation that we are having. Whatever we are doing is within the Constitution of Kenya, and our guidance as of now is Article 1 of our Constitution, which says that people can exercise power either through the elected leaders or they can exercise power directly. So what we are doing currently is having a discourse between how do you want our nation to move, which way is appropriate for us. Are the leaders that are here currently serving purpose? Are they doing whatever they were elected to do? So now that we felt like the leadership at the moment is not doing that, it's why we are taking the discourse to the streets, marching peacefully, no violence whatsoever in our cause, and we've kept on insisting that our only weapon is a bottle of water and a phone, and maybe an instrument. And we've said we're marching in black, green, and black, green, and white t-shirts or colors. So whoever was that speaker, please, this is not a violent movement. We are not planning whatsoever way to overthrow the government or take power forcefully or through use of violence. This is a peaceful demonstration as prescribed in our first article of the Constitution, whereby people can either exercise power indirectly or directly.
Yep.
So over to you, Billy.
Okay, Billy, as you come in, we want to remind our speakers, Maj, that again 2 minutes each for us to keep it. We have so many people are still. They have been here 4 sessions and they have never have a mic. So today we want to try our best. At least we see if they can have a mic. Billy, go ahead.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Daktari, for the continued points on matter of constitutions and the guidance into, because you've been into the generations where such things have happened, and we really appreciate this. I will not repeat what everyone else has said because we're all here, and those who've been here, we're just in one course, just getting guidance from Daktari, and to keep on with the course, because it's a journey that has begun. And as I mentioned in the last space, when you're going on a journey
some people will drop on certain stages. So for those people who dropped yesterday, like the betrayal that happened with one of the team members that have been actively participating in this movement, we want to urge everyone else that you drop the casket where it is dropped and you move on, because you cannot carry a load with us. So I want to appreciate everyone. And as you're going tomorrow for the Saba Saba, everyone, you know, our core value is peace, 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 and we are peaceful. God bless you, everyone. And let's continue contributing on positive vibes and on the production onto the level and our cup, our eyes on the cup. So back to you, Hillary. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Be Real. And as we continue, let's not forget to build the network, follow the host, the co-hosts, speakers, look left and right, and follow each other. Solomon, Duncan, and Komwanza in that order, 2 minutes each.
Thank you so much. And I really want to thank the
Solomon,
organizers
I
of
cannot
this.
hear you. Can anybody else hear Solomon?
I can
Can
hear
you
him.
hear me?
Okay.
Can you
So
hear me?
it means I might need to log out and come
Yes,
back.
just a minute.
Yeah, okay. Then Beryl, continue with him as I log out and try to come back again.
Okay, Solomon,
Okay.
carry on.
Go
But
on,
how come I
Solomon.
can
Thank
hear the
you.
other one? Who's speaking?
Solomon speaking.
Okay.
Can you get me?
Beryl, then continue.
Yes, carry on, please.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, the organizers of this meeting, for this kind of meeting, because I've actually found it quite different from the others. But just quick to what I wanted to say is that how can we actually, because the reason why we are on the street is actually try to change things that are actually affecting our well-being as a country. We don't have we actually not trying to overthrow the government, but we are actually trying to keep it on its toes. So how can we do it without overthrowing William Ruto, but trying to make him give the correct governance that we want in this country? And the next one, kindly, how can we actually use the platform, which is the digital platform? Like, for example, those are on the Twitter, because going on the street is actually killing us. So how can we mix them and help us win the war? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Solomon. Kings, let me take this just for a minute. You've been here, sorry. Solomon, thank you for that. I think that was addressed onto the last topic. So we'll do a recap maybe on the comment section, because we have so many ways of doing so, as Dr. mentioned. One is deplatforming them, and two is unfollowing them, like not giving them that audience that they're always looking for. And then on the part of demonstration, we're not going to tire. We're still going to go on as peaceful. But when we see the goons, we shy off and we let them have it. That's what we discussed last time. So I will take, it was Komwanza, you were given a cue. So it was Duncan and then Komwanza, you can take the mic as the other people that are hosting come back online. Komwanza or Duncan, take it.
All right. Thank you so much, the co-host and the host, and the rest of the audience. Well, I would want to answer the previous speaker first before I make my submissions. He asked, how can we hold the president accountable without overthrowing the government? And I realized that he's asking this question because such an action, especially of overthrowing the government, has the potential to throw us into anarchy. One, I think our constitution is one document that we have not appreciated so far, and the potential it has to correct any problems that may exist in governance. We do have checks and balances that are inbuilt in the executive, parliament, and the judiciary. Each of these institutions is supposed to be independent and to be able to check the other. Parliament is the one that is supposed to check the executive. It's supposed to check the president and make sure that
he exercises his power as the president, executive power, within the limits that are established by our constitution. The problem that we have currently is that parliament has been co-opted. It has been compromised. Most of these MPs, as I'm told, are sometimes very susceptible to bribery. And I think that now compromises the whole thing. We no longer have faith in the institutions. In fact, if parliament was doing its work, it wouldn't matter who Ruto is or the president is. It wouldn't matter whether we have a dictator or whoever, because the institutions will keep him in check. So I would advise us to perhaps focus yes, on... and please land in the next 1 minute, because we're still doing 2 minutes each. Komanza, back to you. Thank you. Sure, yeah. So I would encourage us first to ensure that we... let's look at parliament. I don't know if we're looking at the end goal should be the dissolution of parliament, the recall of the MPs. Any of those can work, but the most viable and the one that is being pursued by the opposition right now is a recall of errant MPs. Let's exercise that clause that allows us to recall an MP who is not being representative of his people, if we cannot dissolve it entirely, so that every parliamentarian knows that when he goes to parliament, he is there to represent the will of the people, to exercise delegated power. And when they do not exercise that delegated power as the people have determined within themselves, then of course as the people we have this avenue of recalling them as a way of punishing them. So that should answer the question. And I think because my time is up, I'll yield it to the next speaker. Thank you. Sorry that I'm cutting you short, but it's only that, time is short and I try to finish at the top of the hour. I'd nevertheless like to agree with you in the sense that if the legislators were acting in accordance to the expectations, we wouldn't even be in this at this point in the very first place. Where we part ways is on of course, the need to recall them is clear, but the constitution as it is now really protects them from recall. So it's can be done, but there are a lot of things that are still, there are a lot of hurdles in there that at least the legal experts share with us the last time we held a space on how to recall an MP. So this is the point whereby when we have, a next opportunity, we should try to have that checked, because currently really recalling them is not easy. You want to put that out. Now let's move to Duncan. 2 minutes, please.
Thank you much. I'm
Kingsman,
slightly
when you say something,
disappointed.
just open your mic and chime in.
Is Duncan?
Yeah,
Can you hear
on
me?
the same.
Much.
Duncan, a minute before you proceed. I just wanted to comment on the issue of recall. As we had said before, in our conversation last week, remember we had said that one of the things that we need to do is maybe insist on the reconstitution of IEBC, which will help us in terms of ensuring that even if a certain constituency wants to recall their member of parliament, then there is a body that we will oversee that process. So one of the things that now we should also be on the streets on is like, actually it said that in 10 days we'll be reconstituting IEBC. So I think he has 2 or 4 days. So much, I believe as much as they have made it impossible, we should try as much as we can to make it seem to them that is possible, so that these people know that they do not really have time to joke around us. They do not really have time to talk shit the way they do, like the way Akina Mohammed, the former KTN journalist, is speaking to the people of Nyali. So I think these are some of the discourse that we will have in future, and see as to how we can make these people, we can recall them and make the life of this regime as hard as possible.
Thanks, Kingsman.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Matt, I
go
want
on,
to
go
remind
on.
everybody.
Yeah, Hillary, go on.
I want to remind everybody that we still have more than 100 requests on the speaker. So when you go a speaker, just keep it short for us to have everybody. And we are thinking to add more time, but we have 20 minutes to go, guys. Tomorrow we have another space that is coming in for the diaspora. I know, Marge, you're going to announce that so that people can come, and also you can post the link there for many people to attend the same thing. I think the feedback from diaspora, you're hosting that. So Duncan, go ahead. Then Marge will give the mic.
All right, thank you very much. Can you hear me? Okay. So,
I cannot hear Duncan. Can you hear him?
No, I can't hear him.
Okay, Duncan, going 2, 3, 4.
All right.
You can drop him, then
Okay.
we
Checks.
give him checks.
Yeah, checks
Checks
only.
guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Checks, you have a mic? Magic, can you hear him?
I can hear you, but I cannot hear checks. And I think she's dropped. Go.
I'm here.
Okay, go on.
Go ahead, Check.
Mine is quick. I just
No,
wanted
Check
to
is
ask the
talking.
general if we can have a specific day we can be exposing corruption. I was suggesting maybe like a harsh corruption Monday Kenya, so that even if we are recalling people can know why are we recalling our MP, why are we recalling this CS, why are we recalling this, why do we want this person to be out of government. So I have been discussing this with several people, and I would want the general to tell us whether it could be effective, because there are so many people who cannot be able to join even the protests. Some people who are not even in Kenya, so how can they contribute? Other people are afraid of coming out and whistleblowing, so maybe they can even create pseudo accounts and be exposing. So I would want to know from also other people whether it can be effective and how do they feel about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And now we go to Mandela. And Hillary, as requested, I've posted the link to the space that we're holding tomorrow. So guys, tomorrow we are holding a space where diasporans are going to be providing their feedback on the situation, the current situation that's going on. It's going to be a compounded feedback. At first, there was a lot of propaganda around the space where it was wrongly put out there that we would be hosting the president. This was untrue. This is something that was fueled by people who were paid, and a lot of people just joined in and started bashing me the whole time. So how can you host the president? Whereas nowhere was it stated that we are hosting the president. Like if you look at the topic of the day, you see here clearly conversation with General Dr. Miguna. So if you invite a speaker and you even want to talk to them also as a main speaker, it's clearly is on the headline. That was not the case. This is just a reminder of how the mercenaries are really working, because they wanted to paint me as a regime apologist. But while they were doing this, at the same time, they were reaching out to me, asking me to join the Ruto space and promising me a mic, which of course I did not join the space. And after I did not recall the space, after intimidation, and did not cancel it, they still reached out to me and requested to co-host. And I said, no, of course they are reaching out to me through a proxy who, is really very deep in the government. So this is not a government space. And so guys, before you follow, if you see somebody being trolled out there, just before you troll because therapy is, trolling is cheaper than therapy, think about it. Just think about it, what you're doing, because some of you people worked for the government that's brutalizing and killing people. Just, I don't even know how to say this, but this is very sad, because when we come out to help, some people might think that we are cloud chasing. We are not cloud chasing. It's because we lived under dictatorship. We don't want to see that again.
you know. And we are not the kind who could say, okay, let's just go. It's summertime, because say, let's take a flight to Mallorca there and go to the beach. It won't even change a thing. But we said, no, we're fighting for our country. When you fight, but we also have to fight with some of you who did not even read the message but are just working blindly for the government. It makes it very difficult. Now, let me not take a lot of
Yeah.
time. Yeah. But
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. To add on that is that I think it's so good. Even me, I was called yesterday to listen and also to be given a mic. But I want to say that we're not part of that. We're just making sure that the voice of the people is heard clearly, and people getting their rights. It is leaders will be here and they will go, but leaders will come. But people will remain. We will remain Kenyans and make sure that things are running well. So the tomorrow's I want to add that tomorrow's space is not about the president and everything, but about the feedback from the diaspora, those people who voted for the current regime, and even the people who didn't vote for him. So we are giving that report will be there tomorrow. So come and well listen. Mandela, go ahead, then John Maina, then Brennan, in 2 minutes, guys, and then Kitonyi that way. And as we wind up.
Good evening, fellow agitators. Kindly indicate if you can hear me.
Here, Mandela, can you hear him?
Mandela can hear you. Good evening, fellow criminal.
All right, thank you. I would like to
Kingsman
agree with
Mandela anaongea.
Yes, we can hear him. And
Okay,
yes.
okay, go ahead Mandela. Mimi sikusikii lakini endelea tu. Ukimaliza.
All right, thank you. I would like to agree with what has been said, that number one, we are advocating for non-violence. The same movement of non-violence is what Mahatma Gandhi used at a feeble age, and he caused a revolution in India at that time in the 1930s. We can use non-violence. It is the best form of revolution that we can do in our time right now. And number two is that we shun any form of violence, because if we go for a revolution, I heard the host Marge really also insisted that we should not speak or act in a manner like to suggest that we are overthrowing the government in any way, because that is a form of violence in my view, and that would lead us to a bloody revolution that James Orengo once cautioned that such revolutions are the likes that eat their children. And we can borrow a leaf from what happened during the French Revolution, where a reign of terror ensued because the people beheaded the king, yet the problem did not end with the king. They continued with beheading almost everyone, even the revolutionaries themselves. So my 2 points were, I support non-violence, peaceful demonstration, and getting a revolution without any form of violence, and shunning any form of violence in all its kinds. If I have maybe 1 second, I would introduce myself properly. My name is Dr. Mandela Ogada. I work in the oncology space, and in an ideal world, young doctors like myself would be somewhere doing research on how to treating diseases and ensuring that we live in a peaceful world. But we have realized that Kenya is really not an ideal world. It is entirely dystopic, and we realize that this battle is for all of us, from all spheres, from all walks of life. We have to join hands together and cause a change that we will be proud of and that we will pass on to our next generations. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for your sentiments, and for also underlining that we want to stay within the law. This is really now clear to everyone. Kitonyi, please go. We queue you before, but you didn't speak. I see your hand is up. Please say something.
Okay, thank you very much for giving this opportunity. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my first question is that I'd like somebody to respond to me that is it possible, like our previous speaker said, that we can occupy the embassies to reiterate that we really want a change. Number two, my other question is where did the rain start beating us? And I want to critically say that our constitution gives us the right to recall all the MPs and all those who we elected. But now when those institutions became not independent, they are now dependent, and actually they are dependent on the executive. That is where the problem is. Is there a way of making sure that we can make these institutions independent? The parliament should be independent, the judiciary should be independent, and they should not be compromised by the executive, like we have seen in our Kenya, our country that we love. Really, somebody should tell me this. The last one, as I finish, because I don't want to take much of our time, is to ask whether tomorrow we are going to fight for our freedom, just like Matiba, just like Rubia did. During that time, they wanted free elections. Tomorrow, can we have an hashtag that we want to say we want free or transparency in our governance, so that we really build this country and look into the future 50 years from now, and our children, our generation will say, really, we and our forefathers who are us today. We are the millennials and the Gen Zs. Can we really do that? Thank you very much for listening to me. I donate my remaining time to the next speaker.
Thank you so much. I'd like to really at least probably answer some of your questions there. For tomorrow, what is planned, as I have understood, is they're going to remember the fallen heroes at Uhuru Park. So this is what is planned. Regarding your question on if embassies should be occupied, I think that was just raised here, but that's something that can be clarified. However, like in any country you are in, most embassies are like the grounds of the embassy are those countries themselves. You know, so like if you're in China and the embassy, the Kenyan embassy in China, when you within that ground, you actually in Kenya then. So that would mean technically attacking those countries. So we would need to check on the legal implications before because I don't want to give a guesswork for an answer here. So let's have legal experts answer that. But yes.
Thank you very much. So Maji, you can against Dr. Miguna on this, so that tomorrow in our space, if you will be there, you can answer us, because I also think it is going to be illogical and irregular for us to attack or to occupy the so-called embassies.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Because you remember we want to also stay within the legal grounds. Kingsman.
It is just to echo on what you said, Marge, is embassies are territories of those countries that it's like you'll be going to attack another country. Those are not our territories. We should remain within our discourses within Kenya, not those embassies. So, because also relationship between us and other countries that are our allies are beyond Ruto and any other government. So I think those are out of bounds. We have too much space where we can occupy. There is Uru Highway. There are so many places that people can convene and march and demonstrate without really us going into. I don't think if it is even appropriate for us to do that. There is so much space, and we do not really have a problem with them. We have a problem with our own regime that we got into power, not those embassies. So I don't know, but Daktari can maybe on our next session, Daktari can have he can, from a legal perspective, he can advise.
And so far that was also not the target. So if he is going to answer that question, he's purely going to answer it from an informational point of view there. Yes. So, okay, because we want to really just stick to the topic. And Hilary, I think we were to close, so we are not adding any more speakers, unfortunately.
Yeah, we're not adding. I think the guys who are here, give them one minute.
Yes.
And then we.
Okay.
Yeah.
George, Ahmed, Lupamo, John, Alfredo, in that order, and then Hannah.
Thank you very much, Maj, Hillary, and co-host. Now, I have
Can you hear
just
George? I
some
cannot hear him. Okay,
He's
let's
Yes,
give
we
him
can
a
speaking
hear
now.
you.
second. When he's done, somebody give me a hint here.
Okay, all right. George, go ahead.
Okay, now I have a few compliments which will take almost like some seconds. One, I'm very happy with the way we are instilling in discipline to this government. We are telling them that we are not all that uneducated the way they think we are. The reason is when they can start, each and every person is now confessing, we are not going to do this, meaning this that they were forced to do something, and ordinary Kenyans are now telling them that this is not the way to go. You are under our custody. Those people, elected people, are under our custody. They are working for us, and they should not show us the middle finger. That is the only thing I can say for now, and thank you very much for giving me a mic for today. Thank you very much. I'll talk next tomorrow.
Thanks. Now I can hear him.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mad, now
Yes,
you can
but
hear. Eh?
go and cue the rest, Kings.
No. Let just let them finish, and then we can have maybe a
Okay.
word before we close. I think Miss S, or I think George has spoken. Yeah, Miss S, you can go. Hey, Amis is like he's not. Amis.
Ahmed, your mic is open. Can you hear him much?
No, I cannot hear him.
Okay.
So.
Okay, John Minor. Okay, Alfredo Gola.
Alfred or John Maina, are you here, guys? I know. Anna, go ahead.
Thank you, Hillary. Much. Thank you, Kings. I was in and out of the space because I'm having a lot of technical issues and I could not hear anything, so I just decided to leave. Sorry, I know you're closing, but I just wanted to pick up on the 7-7 Mandamano. Thanks to the doctor, he's given a background on what brought the 7-7 Mandamano issue. And clearly, to be honest, those things still. Somebody's got his mic open. I don't know. I'm having an echo.
Kingsman. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Those issues have not yet been rectified, or those issues still existence today, and that is most of the reason why now the Gen Zs are out there. But I think this 7-7 would be different from any other, because it would be it coincides with whatever that has been happening for the last few weeks, and a lot of people think the grievance is with the Ruto, or it's with the finance bill that was done in Washington. But no, it's much more. It's deeply rooted than that. We've got a system that has been installed there by neocolonialism that has actually made it work for them, but not deliver for the ordinary Kenyan. Now, coming back to the issue of 7-7, those things are still there. During those Moi regimes, we had the Wagala massacre. That nothing has been done to it up to today. So if anybody is under the illusion that Duale and the likes are now in the government, therefore the NFD people are okay. No, they are not okay. We've had toxic waste, nuclear toxic waste, being dumped on those regions. Now, if you look at those regions statistically, we have the highest amount of cancer cases. Nobody has paid the price for that. Somebody somehow in the government took some money and decided, let's just put the waste over there. You've got the Wagala massacre. Those people have had during Moi, I don't know, many of you don't even maybe know, but there was another identification card. people have Kenyan ID, but people in those regions, they had another ID, which it used to be called pink card. So they had pink cards. So if you don't have a pink card, you couldn't even vote, regardless of you having a Kenyan ID, regardless of you being a Kenyan. So do those things still exist? Absolutely, they do. Because if somebody goes, forget about Ruto paying a lip service saying that would not be questioned, but no, you have to bring your grandfather, you have to sit on a committee in order for you to obtain just a simple ID.
Can you still hear Hannah? I cannot hear her.
We've lost her. We've lost her. I think she has dropped. She has
Okay.
dropped.
Oh my.
So Kingsman, closing remarks?
Yeah, maybe mine is just to echo on what we've been saying. Maybe the politicians that are here are wondering, maybe are these people, maybe are they is it like maybe they want to run in 2027? Are they looking for a political opportunity? No, 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 no. I am not interested in politics whatsoever. But again, you realize whatever you do, politics is part and parcel of your life. When you wake up in the morning, you waking up is politics. You taking your breakfast in the morning is politics. You leaving your house, driving all the way to work is politics. So politics encompasses the life that we live. And I feel like for us to take this discourse to another level is we now need to start civic education. We need to keep this discourse going each and every day. There is no relenting, because if you do, then you'll be getting people who have never, like, the only thing that Sudi has ever contributed in parliament is taking an oath and maybe voting yes for this finance bill. So I'm happy that now the tribal card is now no longer at play, because people are now realizing that governance, finance bill, appropriation bill, and then the taxation measures that are being taken by government are affecting us across the divide. It doesn't matter which tribe you come from. It doesn't matter which region of the country you come from. These people, when they implement these laws, oh dear, you will be affected, your family will be affected. Some of the things that are doing can put you out of business. So as as a nation and as a people, it is time for us to keep on keeping on in terms of asking questions, going to the streets. Tomorrow, let's be there for the Saba Saba. If our uncles, our friends, and the leaders that were there before wouldn't have gone to the streets, the likes of Miguna being arrested for fighting for multipartyism, then we couldn't be here. Remember the journey that we walked through for us to get the 2010 constitution, the lives that have been lost, the people that have died before us, and for us to reach here, it has costed the country so much. So we shouldn't let anyone take this and say that now they are running away with this. Remember, the only part of the conversation that we are getting involved is we are the ones that are being served. When they collect this revenue that they are collecting, they will use it the way they are using it in travel expense. Imagine a governor of Nairobi going to Diani to discuss a budget of Nairobi. So that is the kind of governance that we have in this country. Just wastage, 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 wastage. And we want to push these people to the corner until when someone will be looking or being offered a public position, they'll be like, no, I'm not taking it. I'm not ready to get my blood pressure from 100 to 250 there. So let's make a pilferage of public resources as painful as it can get. So I think that will be my point today. Let's continue this conversation. Follow us, follow the host, follow the co-host, follow each other. The bigger we get, the better. And remember, we are strong in numbers. Our numbers are what are making us strong, and it is what will make us be heard out there. So thank you so much, Hillary. Thank you, Maj. I think real need dropped, and thank you, Daktari, for giving us time, and everyone that has participated here, either through being part of those who spoke or being a listener. Thank you so much, and have a good night, have a good day, have a good morning wherever you are.
Thanks so much, Kingsman. I'll close now also and then give the mic to Hilary to close. I would like to thank, of course, Dr. in absentia. He's coming back, of course. He's going to listen to the part of the space that was, happened after him. Joe Gashiko, I tried to add you, but it's not working. I don't know what's going on. Even Hannah dropped there. But I'd like to thank everyone for staying on board also and listening in. What I want to say is that whereas we might not be home and we might not speak as you expect, and that might cause ridicule on the other side and other comments on this other side, we have in real sense experienced Saba Saba. Well, growing up, we have had to hide or lie to plain-clothed policemen who came home looking for our fathers. So each Kenyan out there has their history and has their contribution, and these are some of the things that are making them move. Somebody would ask, if there's people who are saying, Marge, you're centering yourself. Why would I center myself? We've worked so hard in the diaspora. We want to, and some of you do not want to hear the word diaspora. That is it. In fact, somebody here who's here, for them, Kenya is also a diaspora. That is some of the things that you people do not know. So you people who are back home, they're also in another diaspora. So, but what I'm trying to say is, do not look at somebody and say they're far away, they cannot help in the struggle. They can indeed do. They have their reasons, and they want to just have a better Kenya together. Another thing is that we do not, and I want to highlight this, we are not promoting violence here. We do not want to promote violence. We distance ourselves from it. And so if you want to exercise your right, your constitutional right to picket, please do that within, it's your right, but please nevertheless stay within the law. If you come to our spaces, would like to point out that you should avoid defamation, because if you don't have evidence, that will come to you. So please, we don't take any responsibility for potential defamations or anything that you would need to take the responsibility for. Now, we still have a lot of people on the who are requesting for the mic. Unfortunately, we have to close. Nevertheless, we have planned a space tomorrow where diasporans are going to come in and give their feedback. I see some of them are still requesting for the mic. Do join the space tomorrow, then give your feedback. And then that is going to be a recorded feedback that whoever wants to hear can hear and take note of, what we as Kenyans also, want to provide as feedback there. That might amplify the feedback already provided in Kenya, that might amplify other things, so that space there is also for Kenyans, and we are Kenyans globally. That having been said, I thank everyone and I say good night and God bless you. Over to you, Hilary.
Thank you so much, Marge. Thank you so much, Kingsman, and our sincere appreciation going to Daktari for agreeing to be with us here for a while and also speak about and give some background of Saba Saba. We want to thank him so much. And also our sincere people who usually comes here, Marge, we cannot forget to send our gratitude to them, because without them we cannot have this conversation. So we really, really appreciate your time. And we said that when we were starting this space, that this just a starting point. Our conversation will go. We'll move forward as much as we can with different things that is coming in. And as we said, follow each other all the time, keep alive all the time, and make sure that all the spaces that is coming up come and be part and parcel of it. And we want to say that we are very sorry that there are some people who have been requesting mics, but we are not managed to due to time, and also we have tried our best to keep it 2 minutes, but we are taking notes always, and we are trying to see how many people didn't get a mic this time, so that in our next session we start with them. When you keep time, when you keep time is better. That's why we're saying that. So follow each other, for you so when we start the space, at least you are there in time. Otherwise, thank you so much, guys. Keep it alive all the time, and God bless you. Have a blessed night. This is Hilary Gondi hosting today, and may we see each other next time. God bless you. Have a wonderful night. Bye.